could be coming today, the Gilgo Beach murder case. An attorney who represents the family of the victims.
For a long time now, there have been several news reports of missing sex workers. What happens to these sex workers? Who is responsible for this? And does it mean that the authorities are not aware of this disappearance? Or are they all part of the great conspiracy? In the year 2011, one piece of news seemed to be on the papers and TV screens: the Gilgo Beach murders. What happened here? What was this about? Let's find out. The Gilgo Beach murder case is a decades-old killing that happened between 1996 and 2011. During this period, there were some creepy serial killings at Gilgo Beach on Long Island, New York. This is not just the death of 1 or 2 people. They found the remains of 11 people there. Most of them were sex workers who put ads on Craigslist. The person responsible is known as the Long Island serial killer. In 2010 and 2011, Shannan Gilbert went missing, and the police started looking for her around Ocean Parkway, near Gilgo and Oak Beach. They found 4 victims who were later referred to as the Gilgo Four, close to each other in December 2010. Not long after, in March and April 2011, 6 more sets of remains were found in Suffolk and Nassau counties. The police think the last 6 sets are even those who died before the 4 found in December 2010. The first human remains were found near Ocean Parkway in Oak Beach on December 11, 2010. This discovery was made because they were looking for Shannan Gilbert, a 24-year-old who had vanished in May after running away from a client's place and calling 911 for help, saying she was in danger. Officer John Malia and his dog Blue were on the case a month later. They had been searching for Gilbert all summer without luck. But then, on December 11, 2010, Malia decided to give it another shot, sticking close to the parkway. Why? Well, the FBI had some info that hinted that dumped bodies are often found near roads. Despite the thick bushes and a bit of snow, Blue, the cadaver dog, picked up a scent. Following it, they found a skeleton in a falling-apart burlap bag. Turns out, it was Melissa Barthelemy. While looking for more clues, the police stumbled upon 3 more bodies: Maureen Brainerd, Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello, all about 500 feet apart from each other. These 4 victims' cases were known as the Gilgo Four. In March 2011, they found some of Jessica Taylor's remains near Ocean Parkway. But this was not the first time her remains were found. 8 years earlier, in 2003, they had found other parts of her in Manorville. Then, just a month later, in April 2011, the cops stumbled upon 3 more sets of remains: a little girl, an Asian person, and Valerie Mack. And guess what? Valerie's partial remains were found in Manorville too, back in November 2000, just like Jessica Taylor's. On May 9, 2011, the police were connecting the dots. They're thinking maybe different killers murdered Jessica Taylor and Valerie Mack. But on November 29, 2011, their theory changed. They believed one person was behind all 10 murders, and that someone was likely from Long Island. They're piecing it together based on how the bodies were found and the forensic exams that were conducted on all the victims. In June 2011, Suffolk County Police offered a $25,000 reward for information on the Long Island murders. They're trying to crack this case wide open. Then, in December 2011, they found Shannan Gilbert's remains in Oak Beach. 19 months after she disappeared, her cause of death remains a real mystery. After years of hard work and investigation, a lead was traced and a suspect was named. In July 2023, Rex Andrew Heuermann, a 59-year-old guy from Nassau County. Heuermann's an architect and has lived and worked in Massapequa Park on Long Island for most of his life, was arrested in Midtown Manhattan. He was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder and 3 counts of second-degree murder for Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. Rex Heuermann has been a suspect in the case since March 2022, after they found a Chevy registered in his name linked to one of the murders. His phone records also revealed him talking to 3 of the victims, and an email connected to him was tracked and seen to have lots of history browsing about the investigation online and lots of incriminating searches relating to rape, BDSM, and torture method. All this evidence piled up against him was enough reason to get an arrest warrant. But there was no evidence strong enough to show he was the murderer of these women, so the investigators went the extra mile by investigating the DNA prints found at the crime scene and matching them to that of Rex and his family. The hair found at the crime scene matched up with a pizza crust in a little Caesar box he tossed out. They even checked out his wife and found her hair near the victims. This little discovery was baffling because at the estimated time of the death of these women, Rex's wife and daughter had hard proof showing they were out of the country for 2 weeks, so they were nowhere near the vicinity where these hideous crimes were committed. While Rex Heuermann has pleaded not guilty to these allegations, the investigators are not to be deterred, as on Tuesday, the 16th of January, more evidence was brought up, linking the murder of 25-year-old Maureen Brainard Barnes to Rex. He still stands on his ground of not guilty to all 4 murders levied against him. The daughter of Maureen, who had been silent all these, finally opened up and gave a speech in court during Rex's hearing, saying, "I was only 7 years old when my mother was murdered. Her loss drastically changed the trajectory of my life. While the loss of my mom has been excruciating for me, the indictment by the grand jury has brought hope for justice for my mom and my family." Maureen Brainard Barnes' younger sister also gave a touching statement in court. "It has been 16 years since I last saw my sister. 16 years since I heard her voice, because 16 years ago, she was silenced. Maureen was a mother of 2 amazing children, and they will forever be without their mother. Maureen was my older sister, who was always there for me when I needed her." The families of these victims, after 16 years, might finally have a chance to bid a final farewell to their loved ones, knowing they got the justice they deserved. Investigators connected Brainard Barnes' murder to Heuermann through DNA found in a hair on a belt used to tie her up. The chances of it matching Heuermann's wife or daughter were extremely low, but the investigators had to make sure to tie up every loose end and leave nothing to chance. Both his daughter's and wife's DNA samples had to be gotten and tested to see if it matches with the one found of Brainard Barnes' body. An opportunity presented itself when his daughter disposed of an energy drink can after alighting from a bus. After the test was conducted, there was a match, but the tricky part was Asa Ellerup and her daughter were nowhere near the vicinity of the murder. Prosecutors strongly believe that Heuermann transferred the hair to his victims, seeing as the family was away when the Gilgo Beach murders occurred. This cleared Asa Ellerup, Rex's wife, and children of being involved in the murder. The accused, while in court, had his hands bound behind him, and he stood stoic, showing no emotion during the court proceedings and avoiding eye contact with everyone. Despite his arrest, Heuermann's attorney, Mikhail Brown, emphasized that he was a law-abiding citizen, supporting his family. Brown insisted that Heuermann was innocent and looked forward to proving it in court. But things are not looking great for Rex Heuermann, as more evidence was found in the Rex residence. The investigators found lots of electronic phones in his residence, and when these phones were searched, they contained so many disturbing searches, with details too triggering to be mentioned here, and software used to erase data, which they suspected Rex wanted to do. Knowing fully well all his searches could be traced, was found in one of the devices. Though Rex might have thought of himself as brilliant by trying to erase the data and incriminating searches at the time. However, the evidence found in the devices solidifies that Rex was fully aware of his wrongdoings and that the court would not grant any attempt to enter a plea deal. In his recent court appearance, which was on the 6th of February 2024, Rex Heuermann's attorney expressed his concern, stating that his client was lonely and depressed because he had been in isolation since his arrest on July 13th last year. The suspected serial killer had been locked up in Long Island jail with no bail and no interaction with other inmates, to prevent the case of someone trying to take matter into their hands and causing the 60-year-old architect harm. His lawyer, Mr. Michael Brown, explained that his client was going for counseling, and while they understood the reason for his isolation was for his protection, it doesn't still mean it is not affecting Rex Heuermann's mental health and also his social well-being, seeing that his only companion is the correctional officer he interacts with. At Tuesday's hearing, prosecutors unleashed a treasure trove of documents tied to the case, including a whopping stack of nearly 3,000 police tips, handing them over to the defense. The leads are crucial, Mr. Brown conveyed to the eager reporters post-hearing, as reported by Newsday. I mean, you heard the government this morning said they had close to 3,000 leads in this case. Sure, not all of them will pan out, but mark my words, some are pure gold. Those are the ones we're itching to sink our teeth into for the defense. We want to dissect them, scrutinize their credibility, and see how the cops followed up on them. Based on the snippets he's combed through in the discovery process thus far, Mr. Brown emphasized the weight of these leads, asserting that some were significant and even hinted at missed opportunities. Can you believe it? We were tipped off, among other leads, that there was someone else, yeah. Another individual that the previous DA was gearing up to slap with these charges, Mr. Brown disclosed. Mr. Brown explained they are still waiting on the leads found to be brought to them so they can analyze it before the next court appearance. Speaking about appearance in court, Asa Ellerup, Rex Heuermann's estranged wife, was notably absent from court. Asa Ellerup has been present in all previous court appearances, but she was absent in the last court hearing. Justice Maze, who was the preceding judge, scheduled Rex Heuermann to appear in court on the 17th of April 2024 for his next court case. We hope in the next court appearance we get to finally solve the Gilgo Beach Four murders, so the families of these victims might find peace. The authorities assure the public they will keep looking into the death of the other victims found to ensure they too get the justice they deserve, and the victim's family can move on, knowing justice was served. I'll be sure to keep you updated on the latest developments and updates concerning this case.